I saw a leftist murder Charlie Kirk, and I saw them celebrate it. And I guess the more we say this phrase, the more true it'll become. In fact, it's so true that nobody should be allowed to investigate otherwise. It was just reported that Kash Patel shut down a Charlie Kirk foreign intelligence probe in a, quote, explosive feud with Trump's counterintelligence chief. Quote, FBI Director Kash Patel crushed efforts by Tulsi Gabbard's closest advisor to see if a foreign power was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. The question is, why? Why not make sure that that possibility, regardless of how small it is crossed off the list? Well, apparently Trump administration officials are worried that the probe into foreign intelligence could provide ammunition to Robinson's defense lawyers, who could then argue more than one suspect was involved in Kirk's murder.
I know this is frustrating to the public, and I understand it, but I'm not going to allow the Charlie Kirk prosecution to be dismantled because we want to get over our skis and publicize information. The reality is, again, with social media, when you have hysterical conspiracy theories filling the void, you're harming Charlie and his family and a rightful prosecution.
So the reasoning here, I guess, is that they don't want anything that could possibly muddy the waters in terms of the prosecution. And, my reaction would be, well, that would only be true if they were able to find something, right? And another thing that is super weird and sort of the elephant in the room is that if Kash Patel thinks that there's nothing to find, he wouldn't really be afraid of people looking. Because I don't know if you remember, John Solomon, the former executive vice president of the Washington Times, revealed something very interesting the day that Charlie Kirk died.
No matter what side of the political aisle you're on, we lost something important in America today. But the case goes on, the investigation goes on. There's a lot of piecing of evidence together. We don't have a shooter tonight. We have a couple leads, a couple people that were released that probably aren't the shooter. There's a couple hot leads. There's a little bit of foreign intelligence.
Say what again? A little bit of foreign intelligence? Did I hear that right? And if so, isn't that something we would want our counterterrorism team to look into, right? As a country, wouldn't we want to know for sure that some foreign government didn't just assassinate one of our most prominent political figures, even if it risks the prosecution or whatever they're saying? I mean, is your evidence so flimsy against Robinson that you can't even risk an independent investigation? Another piece of reporting that I want to remind people of, this one from Ron Unz, quote, earlier this year, I published an article summarizing Israel's long history of high-profile political assassinations, a record unmatched in all of world history, and this particular incident certainly fit very well into that pattern. Therefore, a few hours after hearing of Kirk's death, I very gingerly raised these possibilities with someone well situated in conservative circles who personally knew Kirk and was shocked by his response. He unequivocally told me that everyone in Kirk's circle, even including important Trump administration officials, suspected that Israel had probably killed the young conservative leader. Harrison Smith on September 15th also reported that two separate people from two separate branches of government had contacted him to tell him that, yes, everyone thinks that Israel ran the Charlie Kirk assassination operation. Look, I'm not saying those things are true, but it does sound like something that we should look into, right? Or at the very least, if I were Kash Patel, I would not be unhappy, quote unquote, about the head of national counterterrorism snooping around. It has been reported that, quote, after Patel discovered Kent, that's referring to Joe Kent, he is the head of the National Counterterrorism Center, after he had gone through the FBI case material related to the Kirk killing, there was a tense White House meeting that was held to discuss the matter. A roundtable meeting between Patel, Kent, Gabbard, Vice President J.D. Vance, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and senior DOJ officials was held at the White House. The White House meeting was so tense that, quote, little was accomplished, according to the New York Times. I got to tell you, it's unbelievable that some of the highest people in our government are having a spat over whether or not we should look more into Charlie Kirk's assassination.
When you have hysterical conspiracy theories filling the void, you're harming Charlie and his family and a rightful prosecution of his alleged assassin, who we have in custody, and rightly so, in my opinion. And if anyone helped him, do you think that we at this FBI are literally going to let them get away with it?
Yes, 100%. Do I think a person that claims that there's no evidence that Epstein ever trafficked any young women to anyone would cover something like this up? 100% yes. In fact, we also now have eyewitnesses, people who were at the event, coming forward claiming that the FBI is forcing them to delete evidence.
So originally when I sent this video in to the FIB for tips, I thought I was doing a service and, you know, to Charlie and helping out. So it started off where I got in contact, was talking to someone at the local field office there in my local state. And then it jumped up a few levels. Then I was talking to someone on like the national level. That person had called me back and they had said, because this was your friend, I think it's best that you erase the video from your phone because it's just going to give you PTSD, and then called it another time to ask if I had erased it.
What the heck is going on here? Why would you be asking people to delete video evidence? Is it really that you think it could give them PTSD? That footage is all over the internet. People have seen it a million times. Or could it be that there is maybe something in those videos that would contradict your narrative? One thing that I want to remind people of, and this is specifically speaking to Kash Patel here, seeking justice isn't just about finding someone guilty. No, the goal should be to find the right person guilty, or maybe multiple persons, and hold those people or groups accountable. That is your job. My name is James Lee. This is the 5149 Show. Tell me, do you trust this administration, the DOJ, the FBI, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi? You let me know down in the comment section below. If you want to support my journalism, please take a second to like this video, share it with your friends and family, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It would help me out a lot. And as always, I appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next one.
Is Mossad responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I mean, we have nothing to do with it. Mossad is not doing this kind of stuff. We're not involved in political assassinations. We never were.
Do you know how many equipment, I mean, treated equipment do we have in these countries? You don't. I do.
You mean you mean booby-trapped equipment?
Not only booby-trapped.
And spying?
Manipulated equipment. I mean, you can't imagine, I mean, the quantity, when I have invented that method, that was in 2002 to 2004.
The pager method?
The manipulated equipment method. Okay? We have already used it. Manipulated equipment in Second Lebanon War. Some of the elements were speaking to us.
How did you use it?
Want a glass of water?
We can get some brandy.
He
can tell you, but he doesn't.
I know, it's an early morning in London. I mean, I don't think that is the case, but...